Blessings. Peace, peace. Peace, peace. All right. Welcome back to 5D Mystery School. We got another live. We got probably about a good 20-25 minutes. Blessings. All right. So just gonna get straight to it and get out. All right. Not gonna hold you here for long. We'll get straight to it. But I do have Pluto in Aquarius for all of the houses. That's gonna be last. So Pluto in Aquarius for all of the houses. Where are your ascendant videos? They are on YouTube. Okay, so first things first. To get announcements out the way, I'm doing this like I used to do it. So to get the announcements out the way, the autumn sale is going to end tomorrow. That includes natal chart readings and my herbal blends. That's myastroherbs.com or astro5d.com. That's first. Second thing is, let's talk about this organoid simulation. So, can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Just making sure. Give me a yes. Give me a no. If you can hear the audio. Audio good. Okay, cool. So, I did a video on this and I put it on YouTube. But I just want to talk about this here. So, pretty much what they did is they took stem cells and created organoids and created a virtual simulation. And the organoids can respond to stimuli inside of the simulation. So the organoids, they learn how to play a video game like Pong. They're learning how to make decisions. And these are just from stem cells. So essentially they are creating a brain like a living autonomous brain inside of a simulation. Now, here's where I see this trajectory going, right? If right now its only function is to respond to stimuli, which at the foundation of a human, that is what living is. You hungry, you eat. You horny, you have sex. You tired, you stretch, you run. Right? Anything that you want to do in this world requires some type of kinetic energy and some type of response to that energy. And that's what this is with this organoid simulation. So I believe they're going to get to a point where they're fusing 3D printers, right? They're fusing 3D printers and this virtual simulation technology and creating like a Westworld type of situation. It's giving Stranger Things. Right. I've never seen Stranger Things only because I heard it was scary. So I didn't watch it. But so that's what's happening here. So with this organoid simulation, now imagine with Pluto now being in Aquarius, right? Imagine that the fixation is going to be anything virtual, anything online, and it's going to be the adverse effect for a lot of people. Like a lot of people are not going to want to be seen online anymore. However, for this conversation, people are just going to want to interact, like be super immersive in the online space. So this means like having pods, haptic suits, where if you put on a haptic suit, you can go online and feel people, like feel your surroundings. Now, imagine if they were to take these stem cells, created like a fully functioning, like super organoid human type scenario, and they were to create like a virtual world simulation that everybody can watch, like a television show, like the Truman Show, where the inhabitants of the simulation didn't know. Yes, I appreciate the badge. The tip jar is getting full. The inhabitants of the simulation, like, they won't know that they are a part of a simulation that everybody on the outside world is watching, right? And I believe we're like, this isn't something that's like conspiracy. This isn't something that's like science fiction. We literally have the technology to do that right now, right? So if you think about the way that they are introducing these organoids to us right now, and the things that they can do, like learning video games. I appreciate you, Nicole. Like learning to play video games, like learning about humans, like being able to have like autonomy as organoids, right? Now, imagine if like we were not only to build the simulation, but now we were to stream their thoughts to them, and their thoughts to them would be an original thought. However, it's a code, it's a command, it's a keystroke. You know how recently, even though we've been talking about it for years over here, recently scientists came out saying that our consciousness is being streamed, right? So our consciousness is being streamed, they say, from another dimension. It'd be that same concept if you were to create a virtual world simulation with real thinking brain inhabitants, and people that have like brains that you created, like fleshy brains created from your brains, just like the Bible says, we created them in our image, right? So taking part of your brain, like they're doing now, and creating like something that can grow and develop and reproduce, like the cells in your body, okay? So I believe that with Pluto being into Aquarius, this is something that we are definitely going to witness in the next 20 years. Speaking of Pluto and Aquarius, let's talk about some other topics. We have the digital afterlife. Now, the digital afterlife is something that we have already been seeing in television shows, and I believe in like some video games, but it's here. So being able to, before your loved one passes away, you get to get the best memories of your loved one before they get Alzheimer's or anything. You can store the best version of them on a chip, and when they pass away, put that chip on some type of immersive VR setup to where you can always interact with your loved ones after with their real consciousness. Now think about this: if consciousness is being streamed, when the soul leaves, the consciousness can stay, right? So that's like a digital afterlife, like keeping the consciousness of that loved one. Okay, so the second topic here is a blackout. So having a major blackout. Aquarius represents like the sky. Aquarius represents like groups of people, but it opposes the fifth house, which is Leo, which is bright lights. So if you have Pluto and Aquarius, and for America, I believe that Aquarius is in the third house. So if you have in America, if Aquarius is in the third house, you have Pluto entering the house of communication, the house of like telephones, the house of media, television. That can be a total restructuring of the communication systems here. Like, not only is Pluto going to be in Aquarius in the third house for the United States, but Uranus is going to move into Gemini next year, August of 2025. So the way that we communicate right now with our telephones, with having physical telephones, that is going to change in the blink of an eye, to where people are going to either have up their headsets everywhere they go. It's going to be holographic type of technology, but just moving away from physical phones. And the reason why I say it's going to happen super fast is because Pluto moving into Aquarius in the third house. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn, but modern day is ruled by Uranus. And Aquarius is known for like just constant, quick, unpredictable change. So a blackout, like a telecommunication lines going down so that they can be reborn again, and Uranus being in Gemini, bringing in ingenuity, bringing in innovation to the way that we communicate. Yeah, I definitely don't see us not having like flesh phones, like a phone that's connected to your body by 2030. That is so sad. Interaction with people is so important. But the good thing here, though, is that Pluto being into Aquarius is going to bring back genuine connections, the intimacy with your friendships. Like, Pluto is an obsessive type of energy, so whatever it touches is going to be obsessed with, right? So if you have Pluto going into Aquarius, Aquarius is groups, tribes, friendships, communities, like organizations. So it's going to bring about a total restructuring of the community that you have, and that intimacy that you have with like your close-knit community is going to come back, like genuine connections, because Pluto is about bringing out the hidden, like seeing right through the lies. So you're going to be connected to people that you genuinely feel safe around, that your nervous system feels safe around. That's Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, some other themes. The rise of 3D printing I've been talking about for the past I don't know how many years, but 3D printing, virtual reality, and tiny homes. Those are going to be American society for the next 20 years. 3D printing, virtual reality, and tiny homes. Okay, quote me. Smart homes, people are going to start to move towards smart homes, because think about this. Why pay $400,000 for a huge mansion where you can pay like $50,000 or $60,000 for a smart home, like that does everything, like projecting what you watch on TV, reminding you to eat, cleaning out your tub for you. Like, a smart home's going to do everything. So smart homes are going to be on the rise. Death on a large scale, that's definitely going to happen, especially when Neptune goes into Aries and Saturn goes into Aries next year. And it's going to be a theme, like especially people passing away in helicopters, airplanes. We're going to reach a time where a lot of people are not going to want to fly, because what we've been seeing with the Boeing planes being torn apart, that is still going to be a theme, and it's going to scare a lot of people by airplanes malfunctioning and falling out of the sky. The rebirth of taxes is coming, so the way that we do taxes, the way that we pay taxes. And this chart right here was made, I think, the beginning of this year or last year, the chart that I'm looking at right now. Digital sexual intercourse. So I was talking the other day about, it's going to be so common that you're going to be able to just go on any social media site and see people having sex, that people are going to not want to have sex anymore, because it's going to be so common for people to have sex online. Like, people that share like their stuff, their private sexual moments online. That's going to be like Pornhub on steroids, because what's going to happen is that Pluto moving into Aquarius brings sex to virtual spaces. So imagine putting on a headset and you be able to, you know how now you can create a player on a video game that you want to play the game with, like create a player. Imagine create a player, but in a virtual reality world, you create Beyonce, you create Kelly Rowland, you create, you know, whoever you think is attractive. Um, and you have them, and you have a haptic suit. And in virtual reality world, it will be indistinguishable from you actually having intercourse with this person, because you're going to be able to feel it, their voice, just how now AI can mimic people's voices. Their voice is going to be like matched perfectly. So AI manipulation, deep fakes, that's going to move into a VR space, to where now we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, like all of, you know how you can be at home, you just like strolling through the clubs, like the same 3 clubs: Instagram, Twitter, you know, TikTok, right? To see if your notifications went off. Now, virtual reality is going to be something completely different, to where people are going to, like, how can I say this in a way that is going to hold weight? People are going to want to be known as their online persona. Like, the way that people go to social media apps now, people are going to frequent VR spaces. So like VR stores, VR clubs, VR like movie theaters, VR malls. Like, everything that you're going to do is going to be you on a headset in a space that you can't tell that you have on the headset, because the space is going to be so real, like lifelike, pixels. So the other 2 things, so I can get on with what I have planned here. The other 2 things is going to be polygamy, polyamory, and orgies. Polygamy, polyamory, and orgies. Like, just people exploring with their friends, like people just having like sexual orgies with their friends. It's just going to be a thing. Another thing is going to be cults, like cults. Cults is going to be really big. One thing that we're going to see between now and 2044 is a mass unaliving in a cult type of situation. So like people doing like a mass like ceremony where they all pass away at the same time to go to like a higher place. We're going to see that between now and 2044, I promise you. Probably not only once. Okay, what else do I have written down here? So, moving on to the next thing, Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius. So, Mercury retrograding in Sagittarius, here's a few things that you can expect. So, the first thing is going to be college funding announcements. So this can be like student loans. This can be going back to reanalyze something with college funding. That's one thing. Second thing, foreign aid or foreign peace talk going south, not looking good. Another thing, since the United States, on the United States chart, this is going to be taking place in the first house. Bad news about the United States that can hurt the national pride, and some type of large church scandal coming out. This is why Mercury's retrograding in Sagittarius. Now, Pluto in Aquarius for all 12 houses. Now I need to get some water, so I'm gonna put this back up while I get some water. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just going to, what I'm going to do here, not so that this isn't super long, is I'm just going to go through each house, right, and just say a few things about Pluto and Aquarius in that house. It's not going to be long-winded. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a Aquarius ascendant, and then move on through the houses. Okay. So it'd be like Aquarius ascendant, Capricorn ascendant, Sagittarius ascendant, Scorpio ascendant, right? Okay. So the first thing, if you have Aquarius in your first house, this is going to be a change of identity. Especially if you have Pluto or if you have Mars in your first house, this can mean a literal sex change. Okay, so this is Pluto and Aquarius in your first house. A personality change. So the way that you have been moving, the way that you have been operating, your mode of operation for the past 20 years, that is going to change. You're going to go through rebirthing, like to where it's going to be an ego death, not the same ego death as when it's in your fifth house, but it's like relearning things about yourself, going into your deeper psychology, because Pluto in the first house is all about your inner psychology, understanding yourself, so that way you really know, like, you understand other people, because it opposes your seventh house, right? So change of identity, personality change, becoming more introverted, or if you have been introverted, then this could mean that you are becoming more extroverted. All right. So another thing would be with Pluto squaring your 10th house and Pluto squaring your 4th house, both sides of your family will could be a catalyst of this personality change. Your public persona is going to be changed, especially if you have planets in your 10th house. You're going to have Pluto squaring those planets depending on the degree. Okay? Next, if you have Pluto in your second house, social gatherings and frugality. This means that you may have been somebody who's been gregarious, somebody who's been, I'll go out and have drinks with my friends, no problem, I'll spend money on it. But now finding ways to be a little bit more frugal, cutting back on that, finding ways to use OPI, other people's income. So social gatherings and frugality, being really interested in money psychology. You could become interested in Bitcoin. This is Aquarius in your second house. So Capricorn ascendants. You could become very interested in Bitcoin, digital currency. You could be somebody who is a facilitator of virtual pleasure. So you can make money. You can make money on the internet by hosting groups, especially of its certain type of groups. Use your imagination. Things you want to pay attention to are debts, taxes, and money that's owed to you. If you have Aquarius in your third house, things that this is going to be, things that are going to show up in your life is going to be pillow talk with your neighbors, your siblings or one of your close neighbors could pass away in an airplane. The way that you communicate is going to completely change. You could become more guarded in your speech, a little bit more cynical, a little bit more that doesn't sound right, like really diving deep in your communication. Becoming a little bit more interested in your siblings' psychology, so like how your sisters or your brothers think. This is Aquarius in your third house. Your speech becoming more direct, and you could also be a little bit more silent and guarded. If you have Aquarius in your fourth house, intimacy with yourself is going to change. So a lot of intimate moments with yourself, like with your private parts, like learning about yourself in a very intimate way and not being ashamed of that, depending on if you have Lilith in your fourth house. A loss of a parent is something that could happen between now and 2044. Secrets of your family being revealed to you. Hiding away in your home. If you're in a relationship, no PDA. You're really not going to want to do PDA. If you have Aquarius in your 5th house, being sensitive about your art. If you're an artist, not really want to share your art, being a little bit more hidden about that. You're going to start to have a keen interest in museums. Learning about your children's mindset. If you have children's, you're going to go through many ego deaths. That's going to help you to grow and build like tougher skin, standing firm in your identity. You could become the outcast in your friend group because this is going to oppose your 11th house. So being the outcast in your friend group, like having a phoenix moment in your friend group, but then having the friends that outcasted you becoming inspired by your independence. That is what this can bring about. So if you have Pluto transiting your 5th house, you being outcasted from your friend groups, but then your individuality being the guideline, being the blueprint. One more thing about Aquarius in your 5th house is being lusted after. How do I figure out about my houses? So you just want to go to your natal chart. You can go to astro.com, pull up your natal chart, and you want to see where Aquarius is in your chart, like which house, which number. Aquarius is the 2 squiggly lines that looks like water. All right. If you have Aquarius in your 6th house, pay attention to testicular health, vaginal health. You might become interested in accounting, becoming interested in funerals, like how do funerals operate, because funerals are going to change. So if you have Aquarius in your 6th house, you could possibly be somebody who is part of the digital afterlife movement. Being a sex worker, so performing, exchanging sexual favors online for money. Getting a dog or a cat for emotional support is going to be very helpful for you, and really wanting to change the way that you give to other people. So not being stingy, like really giving to others. Okay. Okay, so if you have Pluto and Aquarius in your 7th house, so what this could mean is falling in love with your partner all over again. Falling in love with your partner all over again. So if you have been in a marriage, if you've been in a serious committed relationship, and you've just been on your last nerve, this can be that moment where, damn, I actually love this motherfucker. Like really seeing your partner in a completely different way. So if you're married and you have Aquarius in your 7th house, then you're going to have Pluto opposing your 1st house. So what this is going to bring about is bringing about an ego death in your relationship, hearing out your partner, because Aquarius is very humanitarian. Like, I want to put other people before me. It's the 2nd house in a 4th quadrant, so it's all about other people. So in your relationship, naturally, you are all about your partner, right? But sometimes you can feel that you give and give and give, and it's not reciprocated. But since you're going to have Pluto opposing your 1st house, it can bring about an ego death to where you truly bring about harmony and balancing the scales as the 7th house normally does, right? So trying out polygamy, trying out polyamory with your partner, becoming involved in social justice, especially in the LGBT community. If you have Aquarius in your 8th house, changing your sexual orientation, your sexual preference, being paid money through networking and learning about the internet psychology. So if you have Aquarius in your 8th house, You need to be a part of, the new phase of the internet, the rebirth of the internet. Like, find a way, if this is something that interests you, because you have, if this is in your 8th house, then you have Aries in your 10th house. So being a part of the new change in the virtual space can definitely be something that you can be a part of, depending on the planets that you have in your 10th house and aspects to your midheaven. So you would excel in the VR sexual industry. You would excel in the VR sexual industry. I'm telling y'all, I can't say this enough, because we've been talking about this over on Patreon. We were talking about it today, actually. Like, the space for virtual, like, brothels, like, AI sex, like, it's going to, if you have Aquarius in your 8th house, this is going to directly affect you. I guarantee it. What you're going to be interested in and witness is that people are going to have intercourse. Artificial intercourse is what they're going to call it. People are going to have artificial intercourse so much that the birth rate is going to completely cut in half. Like, real babies aren't just, they're not going to be born anymore like that often. It's going to be like that film Children of Men, where it's like, oh, the oldest natural living human is dying at 100 years old. Everybody else is like cyborgs and that type of thing. Like, okay, if you have Pluto in your 9th house, you're going to be switching up your views about cultures. You're going to be a little bit obsessed about learning about new cultures and traveling, right? Immersing yourself in the psychology of different cultures. So this is watching foreign movies. This is going to, like, learning about different religions, like different spiritual practice of other cultures. So Pluto is going to be opposing your 9th house. So it's like, you're, in a way, it's like you're going to be bored with, like, your surroundings. Like, United States is so yesterday. I want to see what is out there. And you're just going to be, it's going to be like slowly but surely, because Pluto is slow moving. So everything that I'm saying is not going to happen overnight. Only if Uranus is there in play, it could happen overnight. But usually Pluto takes a while for things to come into play, right? So you're going to find yourself between now and 2044, if it's in your 9th house, if you're not living overseas near water, especially like somewhere cold, then you're just going to be like immersing yourself in new languages. You're probably going to have a lot of fun with foreign people, special type of fun, given what Pluto represents. You can switch up your religious views. So if you're a Christian, you can become Muslim. If you're a Muslim, you can become Buddhist. That type of switch up. Major philosophy switches. So if you have like a guru, you're just not going to be feeling your guru anymore. If you have like a mentor, you could be switching your mentors. If you live overseas, then what you want to be careful of is make sure that all your papers are taken care of. If you're like a foreigner and you're in a foreign land, your identity, your paperwork, make sure you don't owe any debt, because Pluto represents debt. So you want to make sure all your debts are taken care of. Okay, you have Pluto transiting Aquarius in your 10th house. You can start to look deep into government conspiracies. You could have a loss of a family will, so you want to pay attention to making sure that your family wills are taken care of. If you have Aquarius in your 10th house, Pluto is about losing things, about theft, right? So you want to make sure that your family belongings are taken care of. You don't want to invest you don't want to invest all of your money in Bitcoin. If I'm talking to you, if you got Aquarius in your 10th house, do not invest all of your money in your life savings in Bitcoin. It's not going to work out for you unless you have some good aspects to Pluto. Your public persona is going to be changing, and now people are going to want to know more about you. And since you're going to have Pluto opposing your 4th house, it's going to be this, okay, I'm okay with sharing a little bit about myself, but you're still going to, if you have planets in your 4th house, this is all dependent on aspects, planets, degrees, right? It's going to switch up your private life, but having Pluto oppose your 4th house is going to open you up to be a little bit more it could be the adverse effect, because hear me out. If you have Aquarius in your 10th house, then Pluto like transiting your 10th house, it could be the adverse effect depending on the planets you have there. And where if you could have been an open book before, you're going to be like, you're not going to want anybody to know anything. You're going to delete everything. Like, you're just going to want to disappear. So that could be the adverse effect. It's the same thing as if you are Aquarius ascendant. So when Pluto is near your ascendant in your midheaven is the most powerful transitions, right? So you could become a complete introvert. If you have this in your 10th house. So your public persona is going to change in that way. And you're going to be seen as more mysterious and a bit difficult to understand. So people are going to say like, damn, I could have swore yesterday like we were cool, bro, but like what did I do to you? Right? Because you're just going to be a little bit more guarded in public spaces. And that's okay. Like, go with the flow that's being created. If you have Aquarius in your 11th house, wanting to be attached at the hip with your tribe is going to be big for you. So this is it. This is if you are a Aries rising. So needing community for mental comfort is going to be big for you. You could have your Phoenix moment by becoming the outcast and using the opposing Leo energy to channel that pain from being the outcast into personal art and creativity. So if you have Aquarius in your 11th house, you could be somebody that has like a cool art moment for the next 20 years where you become like this mysterious artist and you like fall back from your friend groups, but people start to know you through your art. So since you have Pluto opposing your 5th house, that opposition energy is going to call in you to like take the ego death that you are facing from the 11th house. Blessings. Take the ego death that you are facing in the 11th house and channel it to the opposing 5th house, and then use that psychology of creativity to become like a cool artist and have a cool art moment. So that's if you have Aquarius in your 11th house. Now, last but not least, and I will put this video on YouTube, so make sure you are following me on YouTube so you can catch all the stuff that I don't do over here on YouTube. So if you have Aquarius in your 11th house, so this could bring in feelings of being paranoid, intimate relationship with your vices. So this is forming a relationship, like if you're a smoker, if you're a drinker, it's cutting out the hanging out with your friends so that you can do your stuff in private. Like you can smoke in private. I don't want to share my blunt with y'all. I don't want to share my drink with y'all. I want to do this in private. Like creating rituals around your vices, that type of thing. But not having shame about it. You can become addicted to music, even more so than you already are. The 12th house is a house of music. You can become obsessed with your dreams, and dream psychology, like how do dreams work. Like starting a dream journal is something that's going to benefit you greatly, because you got to remember that Aquarius is all about the mental. Aquarius is a very mentally stimulating sign. So your mentality in all of these houses is going to be changing. So therefore, in the 12th house, your mentality surrounding dreams is going to be changing. And so since Pluto represents psychology, you're going to immerse yourself in dream psychology, right? But you're going to be paranoid, like who's out to get me, that type of thing. Is just expect that to come and happen. Um, but it's not always a bad thing. It can save your life. So that is Pluto and Aquarius through all of the houses. We went over the brain organoid simulation. I went over a reminder that the autumn sale ends tomorrow over at myastroherbs.com or astro5d.com. So if you want to book a reading with me, make sure you do it today. You got like 9 hours left. Mercury, we went over Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius and what that means for the United States. So yeah, that's another live for y'all today. Do we have any questions before we get out of here? I'm going to try to get back to doing these weekly lives, but I will put this live over on YouTube. Yes, I'm going to repost this on YouTube. I missed the 7th and 8th. Don't worry, I'm going to put this on YouTube as soon as possible. And again, make sure that y'all are subscribed to my YouTube channel, because I gotta yeah, exactly. I have a vlog on YouTube that many people don't know about. It's called the Saturnian vlog. I put content on YouTube that I don't share on IG. Sometimes I'll go live on YouTube. So if I were you, I would follow me on YouTube, because IG has just been doing me way too dirty, y'all. That's why a lot of people have been sending me messages about that, like what happened to my channel. I just had to delete all my posts. Like IG were just taking down a lot of my videos. They weren't telling people when I was going live, so my numbers went from like having 100 people on live to having like 10 people on live. Like I don't know. Like the energy of Instagram has changed for me, so I would prefer to just put my stuff straight to YouTube. Um, yeah, and TikTok deletes my page every month, and I lose 100 followers a day probably. So yeah, I would say I don't know why they're deleting my stuff, but I know why. It's the stuff that I talk about. But look, man. So what I will say about Pluto and Aquarius, just to add more to that, is that nobody breathing right now has experienced Pluto and Aquarius, right? So allow the changes to come in. Allow your mentality to change. Go on your natal chart and look at what house you have Aquarius in. Go back and look at this video when I posted on YouTube and see how that area of your life is going to be changing. And just allow the change. It's not going to be a bad thing. It's what you make it. It's how you perceive it to be. All right. If you want to be involved in the daily meditations, make sure you subscribe to the Discord. You can come over to the Discord by going to the Patreon and clicking the Discord link, or clicking the Discord link in my bio. We do daily meditations on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Um, yes, book a reading. Book a reading. That would be great. Um, I wouldn't say I'm a master reader yet, though. I'm getting there. All right. So if there is no questions, y'all, that's all I have for today. Be on the lookout for these hopefully weekly lives. If not weekly lives, then monthly lives. But I will try to do my get back to my weekly lives because I know y'all were really enjoying when I was doing that. And also with these lives that I do, like feel free. I saw that a couple of you sent me requests to come up on the live. Always, feel free to send me a request to come up on live and share your thoughts and your views and opinions. The more the merrier. I would love to put a reading, put it into manifestation. Yeah, man, head over to astro5d.com, book your reading, especially since the sale ends tomorrow. But Black Friday's coming and all that stuff, so it's going to be more sales. But all right, y'all. I appreciate y'all joining me today. I will see you in the next live. Take care of yourself and much love. Peace.